Welcome to Screen Time with today's Communiqué. So excited to have Doctors Khiela Holmes and Dr. Tiffany Haynes with us discussing the AABP Town Hall series. We know that you guys have done a couple of series in the past, and this is going to be a continuation of that. And so thank you guys for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us to talk about the Town Hall series.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So before we jump into the next series, I want to just kind of reintroduce AABP and also just reintroduce to our audience um, who you guys are, especially for people who are just now tuning into the series and may not know or may not be familiar with you, Dr. Holmes and Dr. Haynes. Let's start with Dr. Haynes. Just tell us a little bit about you and maybe your specialty or your area of practice.
I'm Tiffany Haynes. I'm a clinical psychologist by training. But right now I work at the College of Public Health and I focus on doing research, particularly about how we can improve mental health services and reduce stigma among populations like rural areas and with African Americans. But I'm a native Arkansan and I'm really passionate about improving mental health here in our state.
All right, Dr. Holmes.
Hi, hello. Thanks again for having us, Kenya. Yes, my name is Khiela Holmes, and I am a clinical psychologist as well, specializing in youth and families. So I spend part of my time working at Arkansas Families First, where I do therapy and also do a little bit of psychological testing. And I spend the other half of my time working with educators and administrators around creating trauma-informed schools, particularly in early childhood education settings.
Wow, okay. All right. Well, thank you guys both for the wonderful work, the much needed work that you all do in the field. Let's just talk briefly about AABP and what the mission is of the organization. Who wants to take that one?
Well, I'm happy to kind of share. So, the Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals was started in 2010. And so, our mission is to primarily engage in community education activities, professional development, networking, and other activities that would promote the emotional wellness of the Black community, and then also Black psychology professionals.
All right. So once again, thank you for the work that you're doing. And let's talk about some of that work with the Town Hall series. This is part three or phase three of the Town Hall series. For 2021, you guys are focusing on ways to refresh our soul. And that just in itself sounds kind of soothing to me. Why did you guys choose that particular topic, or what was the rationale or thinking with that particular theme?
I think that we are all, as we look back on the year of 2020 and in the beginning of 2021, we're getting tired. We started off strong in 2020. Things got a little rough and we were able to make it through. And now, it's like it's still going on. We're still coping. We're still trying to do it. And we're getting tired. And I think everyone is getting tired. And so we realized that, and we wanted to offer some tips and some strategies for how you can take that deep breath, how you can recenter yourself, refocus, and refresh yourself to continue on this journey.
As we transition from April, talking about our spirituality and coping, we're going to go into May. And then tell us a little bit about what we are to expect for May.
So, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we want to really talk about, mental health in a way where we're actually getting some practical tips and strategies from mental health professionals. And so we're having our very own kind of like Ask the Professional day where you can ask questions and get information from mental health professionals here in our area. Not therapy, So this is not going to be, the time where we can go deep into everything that's going on. But if you have some, some tips, some things, some question that you have, and you haven't been able to connect to a mental health professional, or, you've been Googling it, but you're not really sure what this all means, this is your time to get some clarification questions answered. And so we're excited about that. We're going to have, a group of professionals ready to answer whatever questions may come up.
Nice, nice. And I'm glad that you guys are focusing in on mental health for the month of May, because let's just face it, even before the pandemic, mental health had a stigma of some sorts. People thought that if you were dealing with mental health issues that you were crazy. Let's just, that this person is crazy. They have some mental health issues. But I mean, it's a part of life, and a lot of people who may not have dealt with mental health issues previously, the pandemic may have triggered some things for them, and so now they're trying to cope and struggle and overcome some things. And so particularly in our community, in the Black community, let's just face it,
Right.
if you're dealing with mental health, folks think that you're crazy. So I'm glad that you guys are bringing awareness to this topic of mental health. With so much going on, again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People have lost family members, have lost loved ones. And so, really trying to be strong in your faith and be strong in your mental health, I think, is probably a challenge for some people. So how would you advise someone who may be going through a grief process to cope and to deal with their mental health?
Yeah. I would definitely recommend, depending on what the intensity of their symptoms, what they feel, what they're dealing with. I would encourage them to consider a counselor, somebody to connect with in that way if they don't already have a counselor. This is not the only thing. There's other things Dr. Haynes may have ideas. It's just that as I'm working with people and individuals, I'm noticing that it's complex during this time, the complexity of grief. Obviously, grief always has layers and complexities to it that could warrant counseling, even outside of the pandemic. But as I talk to individuals who have experienced grief during this time, what I've heard them say is that they feel like people don't understand the grief that they're experiencing in the midst of this pandemic, because the experience is different. So what they've had to do is really reach out and get their own professional assistance to help them with it. Or I'm just remembering a situation where an individual told me that they did receive support from a friend who also experienced grief during this time, who they felt understood,
Okay.
they could connect with them. So I would say definitely friends, connect, but really, if they really feel like they need it, I really do think reaching out to a mental health professional just to support them and help them navigate this time.
Okay.
I definitely agree with that. People who have experienced grief before, they have never experienced grief in the middle of a pandemic, in the midst of so much other loss. So we don't even think about, the loss related to, jobs, or the loss related to not being able to connect with your friends and family in the way that you used to. So everyone has kind of this foundation of grief going on right now. And then we're adding on the loss of a friend or a loved one or a family member, and it's just magnified. And so,
Right.
people who are experiencing that right now, we've never experienced that before. And so it's definitely advisable to get someone to walk through this journey with you, and that could be a professional. And I think that for those of us who are supporting those who are grieving, what Dr. Holmes said about, making sure that we're being supportive, it's different now because we're used to taking a casserole over to your house and showing up at the funeral. And that's how we show you that we support you. And now we can't really do that. And so making sure that we're intentional and we're, being more creative as to how we're showing people that we support them and that we love them and we're here is very necessary during this time.
Right.
Yeah, I think that we take things like that well, in the past we've taken things like that for granted. That when things, happen, let's just, you know, um, get a dinner and go over to the house and just kind of fellowship and love on one another for a little bit. But, like you said, Dr. Haynes, we're in a different time and we can't do that. And so we have to kind of be creative in our ways of showing, affection and support for friends and family members. And so, thank you for bringing that up. When we talk about um, mental health during this pandemic, during the month of May, um, some coping skills or some strategies, because not everyone is going through the grieving process. Not everyone has had a loss of some sort. But there are some connections that have not that we've lost. So with mental health, with in this pandemic, I know that there are probably um, some issues that come up with um, relationships, marriages, and that whole the mental health and how that can affect marriages. Have you seen that in your practices with couples who are just kind of going through it right now? And how do you suggest that they work together to get over that plateau or to get over the hump?
Absolutely. All I can say is yes, yes, and yes. Now, I primarily, as I mentioned earlier, I work with youth and families in that context. So I don't do like couples work. But one of the things we thought about as an organization is that issue, is the rise in marital discord and more people considering separation and divorce and just challenges and conflict and tension in relationships. So we do have it. Maybe we can reshare it on our Facebook page, but we should have is a couple of clips on there. Charlie Simpson, one of our members, has the I think it's the Arkansas Relationship Center, I believe is what it is. And so that's specifically one of the things they focus on there is couples and relationships. So he's done several recordings for us to really give tips about that. So we would encourage people as an organization, of course, reach out because this is not a replacement for getting counsel's therapy. He just provides some tips and some ideas for how to support couples and building healthy relationships, communication, and so forth. We'd encourage, just like individuals, if you're just as individuals having difficulties with their own kind of emotional health and wellness, if a couple is having difficulties in their relationship, seek out counsel, seek out people who are trained and expert in this area. Charlie Simpson, I know he is trained and he has gone through the different certifications to really support people in this regard and people that work at his clinic. So I would just say reach out, look at our website, look at our Facebook page, and look at those tips.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you think about searching for tips and utilizing tips, um, the whole term self care has really, I think, and this is just my opinion, taken on a new meaning. Because before, when you said the term self care, you thought about, oh, it just applies to women. It means just going to get your nails done a little bit more, going to get your feet done, throwing in a massage here and there, for self care. But um, nowadays, I think self care has taken on a whole new meaning, because it really does mean checking in with your mental health, your emotional health, your behavioral health, and making sure that you're okay in that regard. Do you guys see the same with that particular term? Because it was just previously just thrown around willy nilly, self care, just, go get your hair done or something like that. Thoughts, opinions?
I agree with you. I think that we are broadening our view of self care right now. Partly because some of the things that we thought were actual self care, we can't do anymore. So there were several months where we couldn't go get our hair done, where we couldn't go get our nails done, couldn't get that massage. And so you're kind of like, so what do I do to take care of myself when my normal coping mechanisms are not there? But I also think that we're understanding now that there's more to self care than just that, and eating a chocolate or taking the bath. We do need things in our life that we enjoy, and that's what those things are. But we also, part of self care is boundaries and making sure that I'm communicating clear boundaries and I'm not overextending myself. I'm not doing too much. I'm taking care of myself in that way. It means making those decisions that are going to make me feel my best, even when I don't want to. So that's that getting up and working out. That's that eating the celery instead of eating, the cheeseburger, even though I'm feeling really stressed right now. All of those are opportunities for self care. It's taking care of yourself so that you can live the best version of your life as possible.
Absolutely. I agree. And I see Dr. Holmes nodding her head. I think she agrees as well.
Yeah. Yes.
so, so for the month of May, our town hall is going to be on the first Monday. Is that correct? Did we say
Yes. Yes.
okay?
Yes. Yes.
Just want
Yes.
to make
Yes.
sure
May 3rd. May
May
3rd.
3rd, everyone can mark their calendars to tune in to that particular town hall session. And so, as we wrap it up, I just want to ask you guys what one or two overall tips would you give to someone when they're thinking about their emotional well-being, self-care, mental health check-ins, that they can do so that they can be sure that they're going to be okay, and if not, to reach out for help.
Well, I guess what I would share, I'm just going to share something that really just blessed me recently. So maybe I just share with others. And what it was they were talking about self-love. So I think what I'm going to say is love yourself, and really in an action oriented way. So be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, show yourself compassion. If it means like every day, literally saying, I am loved, I am lovable, give yourself the time and space that you need to just truly take care of yourself and love on yourself, and know that you are worthy of that and you are deserving of that.
Right.
So self-love, really act in a way that's kind and loving towards yourself.
Yeah. Dr. Haynes, what about you?
I totally agree with Dr. Holmes. That probably would have been my number one. My word for 2020 and going into 21 was grace and showing yourself compassion. But one of the things that I found to be extremely important right now for your emotional health is to remember to be grateful. And so taking some time out of every day to find something that you are grateful for really has the opportunity to kind of change your outlook and can help your mental health. So we know there's connections between gratefulness and mental health. And when we have so much going on, it's so easy to focus on what's not going well. And we focus on the what ifs. And so focusing on the what is right now, what's going on right now, and what I can be grateful for in this moment can be very freeing and good for you emotionally.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. Both of you guys. I mean, that enough said. So, yes. So I want to thank both of you all, Dr. Holmes and Dr. Haynes, for coming on to tell us a little bit about our next town hall series, and how can people find you guys on Facebook and on YouTube, just so that everyone knows. Do they just go in and type in AABP? Do they just type out the whole acronym? How do they find you on Facebook?
Okay, great. Like, so on Facebook is the Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals. So yeah, we did make it that long kind of title. So I'll say it again. Arkansas, if you just type in Arkansas Association, hopefully it'll pop up for you. But Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals. And I do believe it's the same on YouTube as well. So if you can go on there and just like us, I say it one more time, Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals on Facebook and the same on YouTube. And just, yeah, please continue to follow us and to support the content that we put out.
Great. And I think you mentioned that if someone is looking for a professional or to get connected with some services, they can reach out to you all on Facebook, and you can provide, a referral, or, someone to connect with. Is that the case?
Yeah, so we are doing our best to develop a directory of Black mental health professionals in the state. So the mental health professionals would include social workers, licensed professional counselors, licensed professional examiners, psychologists, psychiatrists, but Black mental health professionals, we are continuing to update that on a regular basis. So absolutely, if they were looking for a provider, we would do our best, so they could send us a message at the Arkansas Association of Black Psychology Professionals Facebook page, and we would do our best to send them a referral. Of course, we don't say for sure, because we don't go through and look up all of the information about each person. But we will provide them with names and resources that we hope can give them a good start.
Perfect. Perfect. So thank you guys once again for joining us. And that's a wrap.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much for
having us.
having us.